Level up your frequency.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Level Up Your Frequency podcast. I'm your host, Crystal Sun, and I'm here to help you level up your frequency for better health and mental wellness. If you're looking for a safe and non-invasive solution to healing your mind, body, and spirit for inner growth and expansion, I welcome you to check out the Binaural Tones Healing System. We use audio prescriptions with the unique binaural tone formula to help smoothly transition your brainwaves into altered states of consciousness. Within these states, we then have access to rewire the subconscious. This has been proven to help with better sleep, anxiety, stress relief, memory retention, better focus, Alzheimer's disease, ADHD, and so much more. If you're interested to learn more, simply join our wait list. The link is below in the show notes. In today's episode, I will be discussing the origin story behind how I got into the world of binaural beats and the incredible results that I've experienced and witnessed throughout the years. So my story, let's jump right into it. So I've always been into music. I started off as a singer, songwriter for many, many years, since, I don't know, maybe 6 years old. That's when I first remember getting into music. And I was always very passionate about music. It's always really defined my life. And I've always went to music, like in my darkest hours and darkest times, music has always been like my savior, so to speak. And I grew up in a small town called Providence, Rhode Island. And I remember I started getting into taking vocal lessons and training in music theory. And I remember singing at different opera houses. So I would travel around and I started getting into performing as well. And back then I had this dream of just becoming the next biggest celebrity superstar. So I started, recording at different studios and really honing in on my craft and becoming better and better at what I do. And at age maybe like 25, 26, I had the opportunity to move from my hometown to California and kind of like just do my thing out there in Hollywood. So sure enough, I jumped on that opportunity. I relocated. I left everything behind and I relocated to California. Now, it wasn't an easy thing. I went through a lot when I was in Rhode Island, just a lot of heartbreak. I was in really terrible relationships. I kind of reached a dead end. So it really pushed me to the edge. And I was just like, you know what, I have to go. And just before I went, my grandmother ended up passing away as well. And she was like a mother to me, a mother figure. So it hit me really, really hard. And before she passed away, I was questioning whether or not I should go. And a few nights after her passing, I remember having this lucid dream about her just appearing in front of me. It was like half awake, half asleep. I didn't really know what I was seeing, but it's almost like she was communicating with me telepathically. And I could hear her saying, "Crystal, you need to move to California. You are going to be so happy." And I woke up very dazed and I'm just like, okay, you know what? Screw this. I have to go. I'm getting on that plane. I'm moving to California. So I went to California. I had no job lined up. I hardly had any money to my name. I didn't know how I was going to make things work. And of course, I ended up making things work. So I ended up getting a job. I ended up meeting my now husband out there, which was crazy. He actually relocated out to California from New York. So two East Coasters in California, we felt like, okay, let's kind of get to know each other. And now he's my husband. So that was amazing. And I started recording at different studios in Hollywood. Then I started modeling, I started acting. And before you know it, I was like sitting in a Warner Brothers trailer. And I'm just like, holy crap, like my career is really taking off. And from the outside looking in, people were like, whoa, you are living a dream life. I can't believe how fast things are happening for you and how things are unfolding. But I wasn't happy most of the time. I was so caught up in like, I have to make things work, I have to make things happen. It was just like this, it felt like a forced time in my life, in a time where I was like beating myself up a lot and nothing felt good enough. Like I would achieve these goals, but it didn't feel fulfilling, or I would achieve certain things and, you know, I would just want more. And it felt almost like a toxic pattern or behavior. But at the same time, as I was out in California, I developed a meditation practice. And at the time, I lived by the mountains, and I would go out. And this is before I had my daughter, so I could do anything I wanted to, really. And I would go out into the mountains every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And it was beautiful just being out there. And I would just get in a very meditative state. I also bring like a little notebook, and I would write out like different affirmations and stuff. And I remember having these visualizations and having these downloads come in. As I was visualizing, I would see or hear information, and I would write it all down. And I wasn't sure like what I was seeing or hearing or learning about, but it was all connected to frequency and to sound and to my future, etc. I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to take notes, and I'm just going to kind of still do what I need to do, right? So as my career started unfolding more and more, and as I felt more and more like I was disconnected from myself, I realized that something needed to change. I'm like, why am I achieving all these things, but I feel depressed? Or like, why am I achieving all these things and I feel just like my life isn't worth living? You know, it was like those types of moments that kind of pushed me into a new reality. It's kind of like I had to go through this death and rebirth process. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the different zodiac signs, but as a Scorpio, it's a very common thing for us to go through these almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes. We go through constant death and rebirths, and we have to learn the hard way. So I feel like I learned everything the hard way, but it's the best way to teach someone like me. I needed to learn that way, and I still learn that way. So, you know, as I was, you know, going through this process, and as I started researching, I started Googling all of the information that I was getting a few years after. I was like, whoa, I can find some of this information on Google. And I'm just like, hold up, what is going on? I'm like, that's the moment where I was just like, this is real. This information that's coming in is real. This frequency and this vibration stuff, it's real. As a matter of fact, I'm tapping into it. It's powerful. So I was just like, whoa, imagine what, as I started researching like about different frequencies, I'm like, can you imagine what this is really doing to the human body? And then I just started asking all of these questions and researching and finding more amazing information and putting all the pieces together, and then having my aha moment, or like this moment of just like, whoa, I know I'm on the right path in connection to music, but I'm just creating music in the wrong way, if that makes sense. So I had to just have this long conversation with my husband, like, hey, I'm done. We need to move. We can figure this out. Let's make a plan, and let's just relocate back to the East Coast. And at the time, we also wanted to start a family, and we had no family in California. So it just made sense to move. And it made sense to start a new journey or chapter in both of our lives, right? And just kind of merge that together as one. So we ended up relocating back to the East Coast, started our family soon after, and I started literally getting into producing binaural tones, frequencies. I completely stopped doing the other music that I was creating before. I completely stopped. I started getting into sound healing. I started learning everything there is to know about sound, about vibration, about frequency, what it does to the human body. I started learning about even the voice, the human voice, and how it can heal the body as well as the types of frequency or vibration that specific words hold. And it's just amazing, and it fascinated me. And I have been on this journey for the past, I want to say like 6 years. And it has been truly an eye-opening experience. It has changed my life. It has changed the lives of people around me. And every time I share this information with other people, they are also, you can tell it kind of like sparks consciousness within other humans as well, which is just so, it feels so good. I love this work. So that's just a little bit about, my background and how I started and what kind of led me and pushed me into the direction of creating binaural tones. Now, what I really wanted to do is jump into some of the scientific results, right, that are connected to binaural tones and some of the stuff that I've been studying and kind of piecing together. So there are more and more just amazing studies that are emerging on the positive effects that these tones have on our brain. And they've been tested as well as proven to help with an array of health conditions. So basically, these tones work to rewire your subconscious mind, and it shifts our brain into altered states of consciousness, also known as different brainwave states. And I'm going to cover the different brainwave states in our next episode, because that goes a little bit more in depth in how it connects to our health and wellness. But binaural tones, they have far-reaching applications in our lives. It helps to reduce stress. It helps to relieve headache pain, just pain relief in general, increased memory and learning. It helps to prevent or reverse cognitive disorders, which is amazing, like Parkinson's. They're also doing studies with Alzheimer's disease using gamma waves. It helps with promoting better sleep cycles and recovery from addiction and enhanced cognitive abilities. Now, for me, I grew up with a lot of people in my family on medication due to just, psychological disorders. So this is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm hoping to get more and more people aware of and onto before you get to the point where it's like, okay, I've been on this medication for my whole life and I'm kind of beyond repair, like before you get onto the medication and go too far with it, maybe try some binaural tones and see if it helps you out. That's why I'm just so passionate about it, because it's non-invasive. It's not going to hurt your brain. If anything, it's going to help to strengthen the brain and rewire it for more permanent results rather than just numbing, the situation. Now, there was a study done by a Bulgarian psychiatrist, and the study showed that subjects in the alpha brainwave zone can absorb as much as 5 times more information in less time, with increased memory retention as well. And what I love about binaural tones is that it's not something that you have to ingest. Again, it's non-invasive, and it doesn't numb your concerns, okay? This is a safe method. This basically helps to train and rewire the brain so that we are able to experience healing down to the cellular level, so that we can experience just a happier life. This is not just like a temporary fix. This will help to rewire the brain so that I would say it addresses the core issue. So it can help to reverse whatever is going on inside of the brain. Now, we do have the ability to reach altered states of consciousness through meditative practices and techniques. And I know plenty of people who can do this, but it does take a lengthy amount of time and dedication to learn and master the mind. There are plenty of monks who do it all the time, but most of us don't necessarily have the time, or we may be in a state where it's almost impossible for us to get to that place because of our history, or just mentally not being able to, because of all the trauma that we suffered with throughout the years. And this is part of the reason why I love binaural tones, because literally anyone can achieve altered states just by listening to these tones. And this is called brainwave entrainment. So basically, the sound that we're listening to The frequencies go into our ears. We listen with headphones. There's two different frequencies, and the brain picks up the difference of the two frequencies that we are listening to. So this, coupled with neural linguistic programming, like say you're doing affirmations, mantras, or creative visualizations, whatever you decide to do, you can couple this with that, and it can produce profound and life-altering results. It's simply amazing. And my personal experience with using these tones, I just wanted to share a little bit about that and a little bit about my family. So personally, I've experienced a much better focus in memory retention, and as someone who was diagnosed with ADD at a very young age, I always had a very short attention span. So now, since I've been listening to the tones as I'm, let's say, doing a task for my business, I listen to gamma waves, or even if I'm studying or trying to absorb information, I listen to gamma waves, and I've been feeling the difference. I get so much more done, and I actually remember stuff like versus before I feel like I would learn or study or read a book, and I could not, for the life of me, like my brain just could not recall or kind of grasp the information or absorb the information for some reason. And I truly do believe it's because I was not in the correct brainwave state. And then B, it helped completely rewire some of my limiting negative belief patterns. And I've always been an affirmation person. I've been writing out goals and affirmations like a psycho, like literally for the past 14 years. I have literally books filled with different affirmations. And it's so funny because if I went back like 10 years ago, my affirmations look completely different from now. But before, they were like, it felt like they were just so controlling. And now they're like just super simple. Like, just want to keep my life nice and easy and simple. But anyway, I've been noticing, a huge difference in achieving my goals and stuff. And I really do believe that our brainwave state, it needs to be in the right state to properly rewire. And then C, I'm much more balanced. I suffered from fatigue, anxiety, stress, migraines, and I'm not perfect, but I still experience it, but much less. So I have like these long gaps in between, and then once in a while it's like it will just come on. But the whole point is now I have the tools to help, right? And that's the beauty of listening to these tones. So these tones, what it does is it shifts my energy into a much more relaxed state. So it's great. It's a great tool to have in your pocket. And instead of packing some medication, you can pack your binaural tones. And also my daughter, as a baby, she's 4 now. And as a baby, she was always so angry, at least for the first year. And she hardly slept at night. It was so hard. It was really hard because I'm the type of person who I need to get my sleep. I need to get a certain amount of hours of sleep to function. And she just didn't want to sleep. She's like, nope, I'm going to sleep during the day on you and hold you hostage. And then I'm not going to sleep at nighttime. So it was tough, right? And I wish I experimented with these tones with her earlier, because as soon as I did, she was sleeping through the night. I was like, almost like, it felt like magic. And I was so mad that I didn't try it sooner. But anyway, it worked. So tip for parents: if your newborn baby is having trouble sleeping, or even older kids are having trouble sleeping, have them listen to some delta waves, or even white noise is beautiful as well. So I've also noticed that pets have a reaction to it as well when you play the tones. And my husband's life was on the line at some point, and these tones saved his life. And this is a very interesting story, but I'm going to save this for another episode because it's a pretty lengthy story. So I've been working on a binaural tone system, and we use audio prescriptions, I like to call them APs, with a unique binaural tone formula to help smoothly transition your brainwaves into altered states of consciousness. So this isn't like listening to tones from YouTube. It's actually a special formula that is easy on the mind, and it allows us to gain access to rewire the subconscious mind. So you'll have really no side effects. and it's not just this harsh transition. You know, like just say like I'm in this crazy anxiety stricken state and then I listen to the tones and then it just, my brain, it's literally fighting the whole time and trying to get down into a more relaxed state. This particular formula will walk you down. So it will meet you where you are and it will slowly transition and walk you down and make it much easier, and you won't have crazy side effects. And again, this has been proven to help with better sleep, with anxiety, stress relief, memory retention, better focus, Alzheimer's disease, ADHD, and so much more. And right now, I'm really excited. We're experimenting with coupling these tones with some NLP practices like affirmations and visualizations in a case study group. So right now, we're just testing it out, seeing how it's working. We're going to make some refinements. And we'll see, and we really want to make this the best that it can be to help you with your goals, to help you with any health concerns that you may have as well. So if you're interested to learn more, or if you just want to hear about our results along the way, you can simply join our wait list. And again, the link to our wait list is down below in our show notes. So that's all I have for you today. Next week, I will be talking about the 5 brainwave states and how that connects to your health and wellness. Thank you so much for joining in this week, and I look forward to co-creating a frequency-driven planet with you. Take care.
Level up your frequency.